Hello, so now we are going to have a dialogue about one of the main issues we have had in Europe in the last months. So I would like to call to the stage our President, Sergei Stanishev, former Prime Minister of Bulgaria, and he was yesterday re-elected as our new leader. Thank you very much, Sergei.
And I would like to invite up Mr. Zoran Zaev, the Prime Minister of Macedonia, soon to be the Prime Minister of Northern Macedonia. And I think all of our family applauds you for the courage leadership you have shown in enabling European enlargement. And I would also like to welcome up on the floor Linde, the former International Secretary of the Swedish Social Democratic Party, the former head of the International Department of PES, and the current Minister of European Affairs in Sweden. We're going to try to make a trick and see if the three of them entering here can manage a dialogue without succeeding the time a bit too much. And I invite you, Mr. President, to start off and to give us a bit of perspectives on what is it that we're seeing on European enlargement and what is the challenges ahead.
Thank you very much, Johan. And I'm really delighted to see Zoran here today. And I would like to start with a saying, which I love to repeat, at least to myself. God loves the brave. He showed amazing courage, real leadership in the last years and months to fight for his country to become free, fair, democratic and sustainable, and to create a European path for the Republic of Macedonia. Thank you very much for what you're doing, for this example, Zoran. And it's really amazing. And the important thing also not to forget, and this is a reason for our family to be proud, that we as PS, as S&D, as a political family, we're always with you, behind you, shoulder to shoulder in the fight. We saw the pictures of the big demonstrations. Dozens of thousands of people, citizens of Macedonia, came out on the streets to fight with you when you were in opposition against a regime which became autocratic, economically oppressive, and subduing people, which was leading the country nowhere, to a deadlock. Thank you for what you did, and I would like also to thank, here we have Knut Fleckenstein, our leading MEP from the S&D, who was together with you at this rally. There is Knut, we had Richard Howitt then, and many other people. We played a very important role as a family, thanks to Federica as well, in creating the elementary conditions for free elections in your country, which gave you the opportunity to be in power. But what is more important is that then you didn't give up but delivered on your promises and what was needed for the country. Because I can tell also from personal experience, when Mr. Gruevski was elected as Prime Minister, I was Prime Minister of Bulgaria. We had two meetings. He was visiting Sofia, I was visiting Skopje, and I told him, look, our countries are neighbors, we are very close. We want to help you on the European path to the European Union. But let's sign a bilateral agreement of friendship and good relations. For 10 years, being a Prime Minister, he never found a way, always explaining why it is not possible, why it is not the moment. Zoran came to power. In 3 months, the agreement was signed and it was ratified. And this creates a completely different atmosphere in our region and between the two countries, which is amazing. And further on, he made a much more courageous step, going forward and signing the Prespa agreement, giving really the perspective to the country which it deserves. And this is why I would like to underline, we are the family which has always was standing for clear European perspective and European commitment on our behalf for your country, for the other countries of the Western Balkans, to join the family. Because the process of enlargement will not be accomplished until this area, whole area, becomes a member of the European Union. It's a long path. There should be many reforms made. It's not easy, but we shall be together with you, Zoran, on this path. It's great to see you here, and we are ready to continue helping. Thanks a lot.
Mr. President, dear Stanishev, first of all, I use this opportunity in this hopeful Congress what will bring back our progressive family on power in Europe, to use opportunity to thank you in the name of my country and my citizens for all support. You, Zita, Maria, everybody, Knut Flankenstein, support us trying to fight against authoritarian regime. And finally, we succeed and we win with pencil and vote, with a very painful, very sensitive fight, but finally we liberate our country. Of course, we are proud of all this fight. I'm here today with all these scars in my face, but we fight honestly, with dignity, to bring back, like Udo mentioned it, freedom, democracy, and European values in this part of the European soil in the Balkan. And really, after that, we show to our citizens and to the rest of the Europe that the fight was worthwhile because we deliver a lot of things. So first of all, I want to encourage our candidate friends, fight for freedom, fight for democracy, and bring back European values, because we in the Balkan believe very much in these European values. And Europe seems to be that forget for these European values what is important thing. And there is no other progressive force in the Europe who can bring back freedom, democracy, and European values. You have our support fighting for that. And after 1.5 years, when we change authoritarian regime in our country, first of all, I want to share my feeling with you that there is a lot of, maybe not authoritarian regime, but hybrid regimes all around Europe. Those days, we are proud social democrats in my country, because we bring a law for minimum wage, minimum salaries. We bring back fair taxations, again in our country, and with the projected income for the budget, we double expenditures for social subsidies, for bigger salaries for the medical doctors, and for the vulnerable groups especially. We have a lot of other measures what is implemented by the new social democratic government, and of course there is no very good behavior from the business sector. But don't afraid from them, because the whole money, the whole capital are in own possession of the capital sector, and it is our obligation to make a fair sharing of the wealth to the citizens of the whole European continent. And I'm very proud, because parallelly with that, we was country what was in fight, like President Stanishev mentioned it, with all our five neighbors. Now we are in good relations with all our 5 neighbors. We make, until 1.5 months when we back in power with the agreement with Bulgaria for good relationship, cooperation and friendship. And really, after 1.5 years, we show to everybody that there is only benefit for that. And after that, with that encouragement, we go forward to sign agreement with Greece. And that was the pictures when we signed this agreement in a beautiful Prespa Lake, where is the border with Macedonia, Greece, and Albania. And the agreement means to find a tool how to build friendship. We recognize Greek Macedonians, they recognize us and give us self-identity right to be Macedonians with different culture, different heritage, etc. We separate the whole historical region, and through all this constitutional change, what we have it in the moment, we will be Republic of North Macedonia, but we built a friendship with one of our neighbors, that is Greece, and there is a rule model how to find solution for that kind of sensitive issue, identity issue, what was the problem between Macedonia and Greece. And we're proud of ourselves because the courage what the Prime Minister Alexis showed was really very high, because he believed that is good for his country and that is good for the region and is good for the future of Europe. And that is only possible because there was only two left-oriented politicians. And that is the future of the Europe. Take the past behind us, be responsible, connecting with the past, but be mainly focused for the future, to serve to our citizens and young generation. And I know that the Europe have a chance only with the progressive parties, with our family, and count on us because we believe in you. And I know that the only future can be preserved by Party of European Socialists, Social Democrats, Labour parties, because that is the onlyest guarantee for the future of our Europe.
Thank you very much. I would also like to praise Zoran and your party for what you have done. But actually, it's not only for wanting to get power and to wanting to get rid of that terrible right-wing government that was before, and now we even have a fugitive as a party leader. But actually, you had a clear social democratic agenda. And what you have done in just a few months is quite remarkable. You have started to reform the labor legislation. You have started a youth guarantee. You have started the minimum wage. And for us in the Swedish social democracy, we are quite proud that our party leaders started a movement called the Global Deal, which is social dialogue between governments, trade union and businesses. And Macedonia has joined Global Deal. And the thing is that you have not just signed the papers, but you have walked the walk. So you have already started to have the three parts dialogue in a real social democratic way in Macedonia. And I think that the people will see that it was not only power for power's sake, it was power to change Macedonia to a social democratic country for the people. Another thing that I would like to bring up is that you are now trying in a very systematic way to work with rule of law, democracy and human rights in your 369 program. And I can see, as being a minister in the General Affairs Council, where, where we have worked a lot with, now I see our candidate Timmermans, but as Commissioner Timmermans, with the rule of law. And unfortunately, some of the East European countries who has come into our EU family has not done the work and is not following the rule of law, democracy and human rights issues. And we see now how difficult it is to try to change that if you don't have it from the beginning. And I think one of the reasons why Macedonia is now very much first in line for the next enlargement is that you actually take those issues very, very seriously. We cannot have members in the European Union who are not following the rule of law, democracy and human rights. And just finally, I will say, I also much appreciate that you work for equality. I think it was your vice party leader, Radmila Sekurinska, I think it was 10 years ago, I invited her to come to our Anna Linde seminar to speak about the situation in Macedonia. And you can, all of you can see the picture of Anna Linde outside these doors. And she told me, but I don't know about Anna Linde. Well, and I sent her some things that Anna has said and written and everything. And then when she started her speech at our seminar, Radmila Sekerinska, now Defense Minister of Macedonia, said, I get a new idol in social democracy, and that is Anna Lindh. So with that, I just also would say that what you and the Greek government has done is so important and so proud, and in the future we will welcome you not only as party friends but also as EU member friends.
Actually, our conversation is also a good opportunity to underline one fundamental, essential thing about our family. We are true internationalists. This is in the DNA of socialists from the very beginning of our movement. And this is why in the last years we were not only backing Zoran, the citizen in Republic of Macedonia, in their fight for democracy, but everywhere in the world where human rights, democracy were violated, we were there, and we should be proud by this, because this is our identity, this is our good European passport, because we believe in these values and we shall defend them also outside of the European Union. This is why when the leader of our sister party, HDP, is imprisoned already for years now, we were in front of the prison to protest against what Erdogan is doing. We were in the court to show solidarity together with a number of national delegations, and I would like to thank especially the Swedish Social Democratic Party, which is always there on these cases, and also the SPD in Germany, and a number of other parties who are internationally very active. We need to show this solidarity to our comrades and friends who share our values and who make their fight. When Duterte, his regime, are killing thousands of people under the pretext of a war against drugs, we were also there to back our political comrades, and even our Secretary General became a celebrity for a while. He was detained and then expelled from the Philippines. And I can go on and go on with these examples. I think this is part of our essential duty to work across the world for our values, support our sister parties, our movement, and be helpful. And indeed, speaking again on the Western Balkans, coming from Southeastern Europe, I remember that in early 90s, former Yugoslavia was much closer to the European Union than the countries which were part of the former Soviet bloc. But this tragedy would happen with the war, with the exploitation of the dark spirits of hatred. This brought back the region decades ago, backwards. Now there is a chance indeed, again, to move forward. But these spirits of darkness, they're not dead. On the contrary, they will try again to oppose people to people, average people against average people, creating fears, scary stories about the enemy on the other side of the border. That is why we need leaders like Zoran. We need the other social democratic leaders which we have in the Western Balkans to create the new atmosphere, and they are doing, because we have three good prime ministers in the region from our family. We shall be backing them. We shall be helping them in a practical way, sharing also experience, giving political support. But of course, the major burden is on their shoulders. But we shall walk the way together.
Only to add a few things like experience, I think that the fight in front of all these elections, political fight, it's something very similar to what's happening in our country. Because it seems to be that Europe is captured by all this conservatism, nationalism, etc., etc. And the fight must be persistent, must be very clear and very open. Sometimes we are afraid to debate for our values. We must debate because there is a lot of control under media from nationalistic and right-oriented parties. There is a lot of threats to the citizens and public servants especially. Seems to be that they even capture their own soul to the citizens. But somebody must encourage them. Somebody must liberate them. And I think that young people can help us very much if they are part of the campaign, because they are future. Everything what we do for everybody, but mainly for the young generation what they can. And I think that even now in the moment we sent a message to the rest of the world, to the rest of the Europe. These constitutional changes, what we have it because of a new name. We change our constitution because we need to change a new name. It's very painful. It's not easier, but guarantee the future of our country. And we get 8 MPs from the radical opposition in our side. And we're continuing with a lot of talks, with a lot of inclusive process, to be persistent completely. And I think that we will even increase the numbers in the parliament. So we start with 49 MPs of all 120 in our parliament. Now we have 80 MPs for important issues. So there is a chance, there is a hope, and I think that there is no other alternative. What will preserve Europe, but not any kind of Europe, social Europe, free Europe, where is really sustainability, where is a hope for the next generation, and also Europe, what will continuing to lead the modern world, because we have responsibility like Europe to be leader of the modern world. So I know that we will succeed, leading by our friend France.
I thought in my last intervention here I should give you an advice. And the advice is, I want you to have a feminist foreign policy. And it's actually not that hard if you just know what you have to do. And I will tell you some things I think that you should do. You should start by saying that we could give women and young girls rights, resources, and representation. And when it comes to rights, unfortunately, we have still, in several of the Balkan countries, a problem with laws. For example, when it comes to inheritance laws, when it comes to ownership, when it comes to testaments and all of this, that are not equal between men and women. You also have to think of how do we get the rights also in families and work, and when it comes to children, so that it's not only the men who takes the work and the women who takes care of the family. You have to take it on the same way. And I think especially in countries coming into EU, we have to be much, much tougher on this. The second is the representation. I think that it's important that we always have separate lists, that we have one man, one woman for all political positions, and that we have representation in all different, for example, negotiation team. And I can say one thing now, Sweden is hosting the Yemi consultation between the Houthi rebels and the Yemi government right as I speak in Sweden. And for the first time, we have also invited women to take part of those consultations. I think that anything that you need to be sustainable is to be equal with both men and women. Finally, when it comes to resources, we need to have from our taxpayers' money the same possibilities for men and for women to to do whatever they want to do to be an asset for the society. We can also see in the big issues like the trade agreements, there we should have analysis. How are those going to be for women and for men? We have taken a gender toolbox now as an analysis toolbox. But also when it comes to your country's development aid, have you seen how much is going to women and how much is going to men? How much is going to young girls that will build up the societies? All of those things is you as a prime minister in Macedonia the possibility to decide upon. So that is my recommendation to you. Try to have a feminist way of seeing things, give women right resources and representation, and Macedonia will be a country for the future.
Thank you for very good advice. We learn a lot from Sweden, especially because of social democratic policies. We talk in our country that when we will grow up, we hope that we will be Sweden, because for the good examples. I have only one advice back. Prepare this government because we must remain in power in Sweden. For sure.